Welcome back to Game On. It was a tough weekend for the Colac Tigers. They went down by 51 points to South Barwon, but Colac coach Jason Armour said his side can't afford to really dwell on Sunday's loss. There's obviously a big game coming up this weekend.
Yeah, obviously not ideal on the eve of finals there. They South Barwon jumped right out the gates and just jumped us really. It was 6-2 in that first quarter, and I think Army put it perfectly in the paper that they were playing like it was life or death, and we just weren't up to that standard. Obviously, going down early wasn't great, but we kind of still had that feeling that we were still able to score quickly and get back on the board, and kicking back with the breeze in that second quarter, we were able to do that and level it at half time. And there was that feeling in the rooms at half time that we might be able to go out and run over the top of them, but yeah, they just suffocated us with their defensive pressure, both when we had the ball and then at the contest. It was just too good for us. We disposed of the ball at 45% by foot and had 72 turnovers for the day. They had 59 turnovers for the day, and on average we usually go at about 62%. So that kind of paints a picture of the defensive pressure that they were able to apply. The feeling in the rooms after the game is that was our first really bad performance in a long time. So we do have a lot of good footy behind us, but that's not where you want to be going on the eve of finals. We head to Grovedale this weekend and play them. We need to win to guarantee a spot in the finals, and ideally St Mary's lose to Newtown, so we'd go into the top three. But there's a bit riding on this coming game.
I heard Colac ruckman Darcy Howard went down with an ankle injury.
To me it looked really serious. I was on the bench when it happened, and it looked like the ankle was really swollen and going sideways. I don't know the diagnosis officially, but it didn't look good. And then obviously you got Zach Zybel, who didn't play because of a quad injury. Right. So going to Grovedale this weekend, they've got Ryan Abbott, who former AFL player. That'll be really interesting. But Darcy Howard was one of my notable players. He had 9 disposals and 20 hit-outs when he went down halfway through that third quarter. Ben Callett, the opposing ruckman, had 18 hit-outs at that point. And I know it doesn't tell the full story of the hit-outs, but after Darcy Howard went down, Ben Callett had 28 hit-outs.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
more than and some what he already had. That proved to hurt us. Darcy Lang was back in and he was really good. He had 13 disposals and kicked 2 goals too. And then Jared McCormack was just a brute in there. He filled in the ruck when Darcy Howard went down, but you can throw him all over the ground and he's going to have an impact. So he was really good for me.
In Colac Tigers netball, the girls fell in a 70-36 loss to South Barwon, but they were only down 31-18 at half-time, but a few changes at the half, Luke.
Yeah, Dave Boyce, he made some changes, but it probably didn't really help them in the end, and they lost a bit of connection, and got well beaten in that third quarter, 23-4. But it was the South Barwon goal shooter, Alan Doyle. She was just terrific. They couldn't stop her. In attack, she shot 59 goals from 60 attempts, so very accurate from her.
Yeah, it certainly was a tough day, but the little silver lining was Darcy Permazel. She made her A-grade debut. She's sort of been there around the mark for a while now and was able to get on. She replaced Mary Place.
Now to CDFNL football. A late goal from Illawarra Biak player Zach Wheels has helped the Bombers snatch points from ladder leader Colac Imperials in the last round of the home and away season. The finals contenders, they played out a draw at Western Over with the Bombers. They locked up 4th spot and an elimination final against Birregurra this Sunday. While for the Cats, they'll have a week off after finishing on top of the ladder.
Yeah, the Bombers started amazingly. They jumped out to a 5-goal lead at half time, but it was the Cats. They had something to prove and stormed home in that final quarter, kicking 5 goals to 1 in the end there.
Yeah, it was actually former Imps captain Jez Spokes that gave them the lead with 5 to go, and then as you mentioned, Luke, obviously Wills went back and kicked a goal from about 35 out on a difficult angle to help give them the lead in the dying stages of the match. Imperials coach Bailey Scott said he was really pleased with his side's last quarter fight back in an important game. Yeah,
and there was just one injury concern for the Imps. Ethan Schroeder, he went down, but Imps coach Bailey Scott said he was hoping he'd be back for the Cats' first final in a couple of weeks' time. A comeback win for Albi has helped them clinch a top 3 spot. Beating out Birregurra there. The Swans won by 5 points in the end, but they were down by a goal to Birregurra at 3-quarter time, and the Swans came out and kicked 18 points to 7 in the last quarter there.
Yeah, Birregurra booted the first of the last quarter to open it up to 12, but from that moment on, Albi did have all the momentum. A little bit of goal inaccuracy kept the Saints in the game, but Albi and the Swans, went on and kicked 2 goals to 6 in that final turn to take take it away.
Yeah, Birregurra coach Dave McNeil said his side really enjoyed the finals-like intensity that Alvey brought to the game, but also for the Saints, they had a debutant, Ollie Coulson, played his first game, so which is great to see.
Western Eagles closed out their season with a 77-point win against Apollo Bay. The Irrawillippi-based club dominated the first quarter with a 5-0 start before applying pressure throughout the game's remaining quarters. Western Eagles coach Dan Casey said he was really pleased with his side's performance, saying we just executed our game plan really well.
Yeah, and Lorne defeated Simpson by 118 points. But yeah, the Dolphins shot right out of the blocks. They kicked 10 goals to 2 in that first quarter, and then in the second term it was 6 goals to none. So the Dolphins were well over the 100-point mark by half-time there, and Lorne assistant coach Bryce Vincent said he felt like his side was hitting form at the right time.
Yeah, in South Colac, they sent Brad Circuit off with a win over Otway Districts by 50 points, but for the Roos, they were led by Josh Woods in his 100th game. Started the game with a 41-8 opening half before continuing to dominate play in the second, but I've got a bit of a stat here for you guys. South Colac, they obviously won't be playing finals in 2025, but they can probably count themselves pretty unlucky. They had 11-7 win record, which is the most amount of wins for a team that missed finals since 2009.
In the CDFNL Netball, Alvey defeated Birregurra 42 goals to 40, and then thanks to the wins, the Swans have claimed a double chance heading into finals, and it was tight all day, but the Saints were actually up by 3 goals at half-time there.
Yeah, and the Swans, they extended their win streak to 5 in a row to close out the home and away season, but they've all been very, very close. Their winning games have only been 3.4 goals, so really close. They've been the kings of the close games.
That's it. Jamie Lowe played her 6th qualifying game in goal shooter, getting in during the second quarter. This moved Georgia Robinson into wing attack, and Alvey coach Sarah Morrissey said that was probably the big reason the Swans got over the top in the match, just adding that little bit extra impetus offensively. But Ruby Bowers was best on court for her matchup against Tess Blake.
Illawarra Beak defeated Colac Imperials in a 1-goal thriller. For the Bombers, they extended their lead at each of the first 3 quarters, but things got pretty close there in the last quarter.
Yeah, the Cats did everything they could to make that comeback. They scored 19 goals to 11 in that final term, led by Kiara Foster. She brought up her 5th 50-goal game of the season, and Tessa Harris has also moved into goal attack to help with that comeback as well.
Yeah, a battle of the top 2 teams on the ladder, and I think Illawarra are going to come away from a game like this with some really good experience coming out of it. Bombers coach Morel said, it's a good lesson for my team that you need to come home strong, because even if you've got a 10-goal buffer, it can sometimes feel like it's not enough, and teams are going to get back in the games, especially in finals.
Yeah, and for the Bombers, Frith said that experienced mid-quarter Rachel Rogers, she was a real standout just with her positioning and her ball movement throughout the game.
The Otway Districts have ended their season with a 6-goal loss to South Colac and a 42-48 result. Otway Districts weren't able to hold on to a 3-goal half-time lead. South Colac coach Kelsey Jeffries said that her side, whilst training for the majority of the game, they didn't panic and knew that they'd be able to get their way back into the contest. Demons coach Claire Robertson said after the game, overall the season has been quite tough for them. They've had a lot of close losses, a lot of single-digit losses. That if they had won about half of those, we might be having a different discussion about the Demons and being closer to finals potentially. And
it was a bit of deja vu in the Western Eagles and Apollo Bay netball game. Their scores were actually repeated the exact same 69-30 as the round 9 encounter between the two sides. But the Eagles, they were led by young goalers Remy Dino and Bria McLaughlin. They both shot really strongly with over 30 goals each. But for the Eagles, they closed out the final month of the season really strongly. 2-2, 2 wins, 2 losses, and they actually overtook Otway Districts and finished in 8th spot.
Lorne tied a bow on what has been a season of great improvement. They defeated Simpson 72 goals to 38, and I think we forget how far the Dolphins have come. They won just 1 game last year and turned around and won 8 this year, and they were in finals contention for a lot of that. For a lot of that time, Sade Stafford she was terrific on the weekend. She played the first 3 quarters and scored 48 goals. Eliza Dionhoven was really good. She scored 24 goals, rounding out the home and away season with 465 for the year, which is a pretty good return from her.
For the final home and away season hotshots of the week, we're going to go with Kiara Foster topping off against Warrow with 50 goals and 54 shots. Sade Stafford had 48 from 51, as you mentioned, Coop, against Simpson. And Bria McLaughlin, 36 goals, 44 shots against the Hawks. That leads us to the overall goal scoring ladder this season. In first place, we've got Sade Stafford topping off with 783 goals at an 89.9% accuracy. She's followed up by Kiara Foster. It's been a hell of a race between the two of them, but I think Kiara played one less game, which ultimately might have cost her the lead. She had 743 goals at 82.9% accuracy. Tess Blake comes in third to finish the podium for Birregurra with 567 goals at 79.3% accuracy, and we've got Maggie Eldridge, 513 goals at 81.9% accuracy, and Hayley Foster for Alvey, 509 goals at 80.2%. Now to the first round of baseball finals. The Division 2 Braves have booked themselves in a grand final, guys, exacting revenge against the Lara Wildcats in the fourth matchup, I believe now. There was a win, a loss, a draw between the sides, and it was an 11-1 win for the Braves in a performance that Braves president Jamie Harris has actually described as a shellacking.
Yeah, it was a complete turnaround, wasn't it? Michael Reid was superb with the bat. He went 3 from 4 at the plate with 2 doubles, a single and 3 RBIs. Brad Egan, he did it with bat and ball this week, which is great to see. He collected 3 hits and drove in 3 runs. And then he pitched the whole game, which was very impressive. He conceded just 1 run on 6 hits. With 4 strikeouts and no walks across the 7 innings.
Yeah, and the Braves, they broke the game open in the third, plating 3 runs to take control of the game that had been scoreless up until that point. A 5-run 6th inning was highlighted by 2 RBIs from Kyle Watts and more runs scoring from Reed, Clint Larkins and Tim Dixon.
The Division 4 Braves couldn't replicate Div 2, unfortunately. They lost in a really, really tight contest, 10-9 to the Werribee Giants. And it came right down to the wire, guys. In that last inning, they had bases loaded, but they couldn't quite get over the line. Obviously being the qualifying final and ending top of the ladder, they are going to have another chance in the prelims against the Corio Tigers.
Moving on to the Colac Otway Rovers now. It was a lot more competitive round from the senior men's side. The Division 1 side had a 1-0 loss to Deakin Uni. They actually defended really well and conceded a late goal in the 71st minute.
Yeah, Division 2 fared a little better than the Rovers' top side in a 3-0 win against Lara United, actually, guys. Pedro Gomez and Keith Marizo got on the score sheet as well as an own goal from Lara.
Yeah, and then the Division 3 boys, they lost 5-2 to Armstrong United, but a couple of goal scorers with Liam Pilsey McCulloch, he popped up and scored a goal, and then Jacob Stannard did as well.
For this week's edition of the Colac Herald's Players of the Week, I'm going to go with Jamie Lowe, guys, moving into goal shooter for Alvey during the second quarter, played the second half of the game against Birregurra, just helping move Georgia Robinson into wing attack and really changing that attacking dynamic for the Swans to get that win.
Yeah, mine's going to be Zach Wills. Obviously kicked that clutch last quarter goal to level the scores against Colac Imperial, so yeah, I'll give mine to him.
Yeah, and we couldn't not have a Colac Brave this week. They were terrific. I'm going with Brad Egan. He was great with bat and ball. As we said earlier, 3 hits, 3 RBIs, and pitched the whole day, allowing just 1 run.
Thanks for watching Game On. We'll be back next week with all the sporting action from the weekend.